Okay, welcome back. As I mentioned in the last video, I'm going to try to pull in a tank, see if I can get that working. It's been a while since I've touched this, and I want something interesting to work on rather than working on animation or my character animation or the gameplay ability system that I still need to bring in. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in a tank. I'm not going to make it fire its weapon yet because I don't want to do that until I have the gameplay ability system working. But I can get it moving around and get all the parts working. So I'm gonna copy. I have this. This is downloaded from the Vigilante website. It's just a T-72 tank. I also have, I think, the Challenger. Yeah, I have the Challenger tank, so I may bring that in too. But for now, I'll just do the T-72. So what I'm gonna do is drop this guy actually right into my content folder. Okay, so now that I've done that, I should see. Yep, there it is right there. So I need to come back to remember I put everything that I do inside this app folder so that I don't get it mixed in with any of this third-party stuff. So in my app folder, under Vehicles, East, I'm going to create a new folder here called Ground. Let me see how I structured this. Yeah, so F16. So if I come in here, the ground folder, make a new folder, T72. Whoops, that's not right. T72. So that's where I'm going to put all of my blueprint, my animation blueprint, anything I need to create to get this working. But before I do that, I need to create some classes. So let's see. I'm going to create a new folder in my vehicles folder here. Well, I will eventually. There we go. Call it ground. And I'm going to go ahead and open this build.cs because I'm going to need the chaos vehicles module. And actually, before I do that, since this is going to take forever, let me go ahead and make sure I've got it. Chaos vehicles plugin. Yep. Experimental. I get it. And restart. So while that's restarting, let's see in here. What I need is the chaos vehicles module. I cannot remember the name of it, so I'm going to look it up real quick in the Unreal documentation. See. For some reason, it's always a pain to find these classes in the Unreal reference for some reason. Okay, so this is the class reference for the vehicle movement component for the Chaos vehicles, and you can see right here the module actually Chaos vehicles. So I'm going to add that. Okay, so that's done. Let me go ahead and build that, because I think you have to build to get that to be seen. Oh, right. I shouldn't do that while it's loading. No telling how long it's going to take that to load, so I'm going to go ahead and pause here. Actually, you know what? Never mind. I'm not going to pause. I'm going to go ahead and create. Let's see if I can actually create the class that I want to create once. I wish I hadn't loaded the U project file. I wish I had just loaded the solution file, because now that Unreal's loading in the background, it won't let me do anything. Well, let's stop this, see what happens. No, alright, I'll just pause and let it finish loading in the background. Probably be another few minutes. Okay, everything's loaded. So I'm actually going to need a couple of things here. I'm going to need my base ground vehicle class. So I don't see my options here that I normally would have, so I guess it's not fully loaded yet. Let me see if I can come at it from this direction. Yeah. I do new C++ class, and I'm going to want to inherit from wheeled vehicle pawn. This is the, this includes the vehicle movement component that we looked up earlier, among other things. So I'm going to inherit from this, and we're going to call this Aspen ground vehicle. Put that in the ground folder, private, create class. Normally I wouldn't do it this way, but of course it's going to launch Visual Studio. Please don't launch Visual Studio. Should not have done that. Okay, so in addition to the ground vehicle class, I still can't use my plugin. Okay, I had to reload everything. Visual Studio opening caused a few issues. So anyway, I've got my ground vehicle class here, and I'm gonna need, I do believe anyway, I've done this before, but it's been a very, very long time. So I'm probably gonna screw some parts of this up, but I'm fairly certain that I'm going to need a animation instance class as well. So let's see what we got here. I think, no, that's not it. It's not finding the classes from the. I always have this problem, not finding the classes from the Chaos Vehicles module that we just added. If I do it this way, it's going to open, you know what, let me see if I can set my options so that Visual Studio does not open. I've never bothered to do this, but I'm guessing I just need to set my editor properly. I usually don't create classes from the editor, so I never worry about it, but for some reason I need to create from the editor. So let's see here. Yes, which one is it? Source code editor. Here we go. Writer. Oh, of course it wants me to restart. Okay. Okay, I reloaded the editor, and for the life of me, I cannot get the proper class to show up. So I'm thinking oh wait, here we go. Vehicle animation instance. Let me verify that that's what I want real quick. Vehicle animation instance. Look that up in the Unreal documentation and see what it says. I just want to make sure. I guess it doesn't matter. Let me go ahead and use that. I just want to, make sure I'm not getting the old vehicle class, but I'm not too worried about that. So what are we going to call this? Well, let's call it Aspen ground vehicle anim instance. Is that what I want to call it? I want to make sure I'm consistent here. Yep, anim instance. Okay. Oh, now that I have the editor set properly, it actually kicked off live coding automatically for me. So that's interesting. Anyway, so I'm not going to add anything yet to these classes. When I do, the first thing I am going to want to do is probably add the inputs in for throttle and steering into here. But I think maybe I don't want to do any of that yet. Maybe what I want to do is, let's see, I come back to app, vehicles, east, ground. And how am I naming these? I don't remember now that it's been so long. Can't remember what standard I'm using. Okay. So Aspen ground. I'm gonna call this Aspen ground east. Oh, come on. Live coding. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and create a blueprint here, and we will call this, actually we're gonna inherit from Aspen ground vehicle, and we'll call this underscore east underscore ground underscore T72. Is that right? Yeah. Oh, Aspen ground east. Okay. Aspen ground east T72. There we go. And okay, for some reason I didn't put the east-west on the animation blueprint, so I'm going to inherit from the anim instance we created and use the T72 skeleton. Call this AP underscore Aspen underscore ground underscore T72. Okay, so go ahead and set the animation blueprint and set the mesh. And let's put a camera. We need to put a camera and a spring arm on this, and then obviously I need to put the inputs in. So rather than type all that out, I am gonna just open up my aircraft header file, and we are going to grab these two, the boom and the chase camera, and throw those right there. Let's change this to ground. I do not understand this laptop. context. We're going to need throttle action, and we're going to need a steering action. I'll just copy this. And on throttle, let's see, brake, and let's do steering. Okay, and I need to grab also, let's just grab all of these forward declarations and paste them in, and I can get rid of what I don't need. Don't need either of those, don't need that. Don't need that. Come on. Do not understand this laptop at all. On paper, it's a pretty good laptop, but it does not like Unreal at all, I guess. Just runs like crap whenever I've got Unreal open. So, let me copy and paste this. Okay. That should be everything I need. So now, let's go ahead and steal some of this too. Whoops. Let's make our constructor. Get these includes in here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and build that. It looks like, based on the last build, I might have a little problem with the JSP Sim plugin that wasn't there the last time I worked on this, but if there is, I'll see if I can fix that. I'm going to go ahead and pause while this... Good grief. This laptop is just terrible. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video if I can here while I wait for this to build. So now that it's finished, you can see there's definitely something causing an issue in my JSP Sim plugin, so I'm not going to worry about that for now. Well, let's see if I can not worry about that for now, and hopefully I can ignore it for the moment anyway. Maybe I accidentally did something while I was showing it earlier that is causing that. I'll have to figure that out. Anyway, let's go ahead and set up this camera boom. You can see the camera's like right behind the tank here. So let's see if That's probably a little too far. Yeah. Set that there for now. Okay. So what I'm going to need to do, actually, I guess we'll do this. So in order to get the tank to work, we have to set up the wheels, we have to set up the torque curve, weights, all sorts of things. So I guess I'll get started with that. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, before I do anything else, I set the animation blueprint. Let me open that animation blueprint. Cannot remember what I want. Oh, I think this is it right here. Wheel controller for wheeled vehicle. That's what I want. Yeah. All right. So that just makes the wheels move properly. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wheels. We're not going to count that sprocket there, or I think there might be another sprocket. Yeah, right. I can't tell. Yeah, there's another sprocket right there. So those 2 sprockets don't count. We just want the actual wheels. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on each side. So 6 on each side, so 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 1 wheel set up for each wheel. And you can see that the Vigilante tank was nice enough to come with wheel definitions. So we don't have to create our own, which is kind of nice. So if we take a look at those real quick. And where are they? There we go. So you can see it's got the radius, the width, the mass, everything's already set properly for us. So we won't have to worry about that at all. We've got all the suspension settings and everything. Okay. So each one of those wheels configurations that we set up needs to have the wheel blueprint set, and needs to have the bone name. So to get the bone name, we need to look at the skeleton, and the skeleton is going to be right here. So let's see what we got here. How about the right? Right wheel 8 is not a wheel. RT wheel 2. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so 2 through 7. So we got 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. And 7. And we're going to do the exact same thing. Left wheels. And I'm just going to go ahead and assume that the bone names are the same, except they start with LF. Oops. 6. And 7. Okay. So we've got all of our wheels configured. Now we need to set up the engine. And I believe they've supplied us with a torque curve, and they have. There you go. Comes with the, they've spelled it wrong, but that's the torque curve, so that sets that up. And I think we're gonna probably want to change these RPMs here, but I'm gonna leave them alone for now. I'm not gonna touch the diff or the transmission. Steering, I'm gonna leave that. Let's see here. So I'm actually going to use arcade controls here. I'm not going to touch those yet. And I'm going to leave everything else like it is for now. Save it. And then I'm going to go back to my code, and I'm going to need to set up the inputs. So if we look at the way that's done here, I need begin play. So I need to add the begin play method. And then I need to set up player input method. Look at begin play here. So let's tick. There we go. This is what I'm going to need from begin play. Okay. I think I want those protected. But I do not remember. Let me look at what I did here. Yep, begin play. Okay, public setup player input component. Okay. Yeah, virtual void. Okay. Okay, let's implement those. So that created our begin play and generate definition, and there we go. There's our setup player input component. And in begin play, of course, we need this, and I'm going to have to add the include for that. And then if we go back, I need to do this exact same thing. Obviously I don't need all of these, but I'm going to go ahead and copy them anyway. It'll be easier to do it that way. So I need to add the enhanced input component. Actually, maybe I don't need to do that. Yep, there we go. Okay, so we're going to do throttle action, and we're going to do brake action. Probably need completed for these. Probably. Let's go do that. And what did I do? Steering. I'm not going to worry about the camera move action for the moment. I'll leave it there though, because I definitely want that eventually. So I need to make methods for these actions, and I guess we're going to do throttle triggered, throttle completed, brake triggered, brake complete. Whoops. Okay, so I need to make definitions for all of those. Okay, let's generate definitions for all of these. And let me move them because I don't want them at the top like that. Okay, so right now you see all of these are set up. Not going to do anything with them yet. Instead, well, I'm gonna have to compile. So I'll pause while that compiles and then we'll set up the inputs. Okay, so that finished up. So now if I head back into here, and see if I can find the inputs that I set up. There they are. How about the context? There we go. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and set the context, and then in input, my context is in the root folder there. I'm going to make a new folder inside the vehicles for ground, and you can see how I got all these aircraft ones set up. Been a while since I've done this, so I'm going to take a look at one of these. And yeah, so steering is going to be axis 1D. Actually, they're all going to be axis 1D, I guess. Okay. How did I name these? You know what, actually, let me just copy. Can I do that? Can I copy paste? I don't know if that'll work with these. Okay, so Aspen, ground. And I'm just going to duplicate this. Actually, you know what? Not yet. Let me delete. Whoops. Delete that. And I'm going to come in here, axis 1D. And now that it's set to axis 1D, I'm going to copy it. And we'll make this one brake. And we'll copy it again. Steering. Okay, so those are my three actions. Siri. Those are my three actions. I'm going to come into my context. This is getting a little crazy. I probably should have a context for each. I should probably have a context for character, context for aircraft, context for ground. Maybe I'll do that later. Anyway, I need. I wish they would fix this so that it doesn't automatically expand everything. So we need throttle. And for forward, we will do W. For back, we will do S. Actually, that's not what I want. Get rid of that. Okay, so for throttle, I'm going to do W. I don't think we need to modify anything. Brake will be the same thing. And we will do S. got steering. And this one is going to have two. I have D, and we're going to have A, and this one is going to be negative, right? The A. Yep, A is negate. No. Yeah, okay. I think that's right. It's been, again, it's been several months since I've actually worked on Unreal at all, so now I'm having to sort of figure this out all over again. So one bad thing about doing this in your spare time is every now and then you go a long time without working, and then you've forgotten everything. Okay. So we're just going to set these actions. Okay, so all our inputs are set, but don't have any code yet to actually do anything. Let me come in here though and come on. We will set our default pawn to be a T72. Save that. Let's actually see what happens when I run right now. Okay. Perfect. You could actually see the wheels move there when it hit the ground. So the suspension seems to be working right at least. So I guess I really need to set up the camera move action because we're going to want to see the wheels move. So let's just steal that one right from the aircraft. Camera move. What is it? It is in the axis 1D. So I can just, again, duplicate one of these. And let's see. Let's look at the way the aircraft one is set up. Right here, mouse X. Okay. Really, I could have just used the aircraft one again, but I don't know. Something about that just I don't like, so I created one just for the ground. Okay, so now that's set up, and let's go ahead and oops. Set up the camera move action, and I've got a triggered and a completed on that one, I guess, or just triggered. Just triggered. Okay. Camera move triggered. Okay, camera move triggered, so now I can undo that. And now all we need is some code to handle. And the camera move I can just steal right from my aircraft. Oh, right. This isn't correct. There we go. Let's compile that, see if the camera move works correctly. I'll go ahead and pause while that compiles. Okay, so finished compiling, but I had a thought while it was going. I think I'm going to simplify this and not do Visual Studio Y. I'm going to not do brakes. I'm going to have the brakes be handled by the throttle. So take that away. Don't need these. Don't need this. Okay. And here, take away this one. And the throttle, we're going to add S and negate that. I think that's just going to be a little simpler for now. So now I have to compile it again. Okay, took a little break. So I gotta remember what I was doing here. I think I had just hooked up the camera move. So yeah, it's not working. Yep, there we go. That would be the problem, or at least one of the problems. Yep, there we go. Okay, camera move working. It's like the wheels are a little janky there. Okay. So I think let's actually see here. What in the world? Let's scale this guy. Nope. There we go. Okay, we got a couple of little obstacles we can run over. Okay, so now I need to hook up the throttle and the steering. And so my IntelliSense is not working. So I need to get the value. So come on, laptop. There we go. So we're going to grab the float out of that value, and then we will set this. Why are you red? Guessing that I'm missing a header file here. And I'm thinking it's the wheeled vehicle movement component. Yep, there we go. Okay, so let's grab the value, and then we're gonna set this is where things are gonna get a little weird. So for now I'll just do this. Set the yaw input. So there's many different types of vehicles that probably going to implement here. Right now we're dealing with a tank, which is a tracked vehicle. Because it's tracked, we're just going to set the yaw input when the steering is hit, which is just going to it's going to make it turn like a tank, so it can turn when it's not moving. That is obviously not what we're going to want if it's not a tracked vehicle. So the question is, do I just make a single class, this Aspen ground vehicle, and try to have that class handle every kind of vehicle that there might be? Or am I going to eventually create a tank class and a truck class and a class for each type of vehicle? I don't know yet how I'm going to handle that. For now, I'm not going to worry about it since I'm only dealing with tanks right now. But right, I know that in the future I'm either going to have to deal with this by setting, like making properties. Like I can make a tracked vehicle property and check it, set it in the blueprint, and then check it here before I do the steering. Or I can make a Aspen tank vehicle and an Aspen tracked vehicle and an Aspen wheeled vehicle, something like that. Like I said, for now I'm not going to worry about it, and I know that I'll have to refactor that later. So we got steering, we got throttle. And really, I need to do some logic here to determine if the brakes are being hit or not. We'll deal with that later. For now, I'll just compile this like it is and see what it gets me. Whoops. There we go. Okay. So that's done. Visual Studio. All right. Let's see what we have now, if anything. Okay. Hitting the keys, nothing's happening. Steering. Okay, the throttle works though. And look at that. Suspension worked. Sort of. Okay. So that's good. Throttle works. Steering does not. I think. Save this real quick. I think I want to set the arcade movement now. The mass there is way wrong. We'll try throttleless brake and arcade control. Not sure what's going on with that one wheel there. It's a little janky. I'm not going to worry about that for the moment. I really want to get the steering working. There we go. That's obviously not ideal. It probably, the weight is clearly way wrong. And the width and height here is probably wrong as well. Drag coefficient, probably wrong. Let me look up these numbers real quick. Okay, according to ChatGPT, this is 41,500. Let's see what that does. Oh yeah, that's too much. Full throttle, we're barely moving. Fix that wheel though. Okay. I don't know what is going on with the crazy graphics problems. And the wheel's broken again. It's still slow as hell. So I think we need to up the torque. So if I change this back, let me look up the torque here real quick. $26.11. That's a little better. Bingo. It still doesn't quite have the traction that it should. But I can play with that later. So we've got steering, we've got throttle, and we've got a camera that rotates around. So brakes don't work. So obviously the tracks aren't animated. The little sprockets there at each end, the front and the back, they're not animated. The turret, the gun, there's all sorts of other things that need to be animated here, but for now that's a good start. And this video is it's probably already about an hour, so yeah, it's over an hour, so this is a good place to stop for now. In the next video, I guess probably the first thing I'll do is animate the tracks and those sprockets, and then start thinking about everything else. And obviously before I make this gun fire, I need to bring in the gameplay ability system, so may or may not get to that in the next video, but we'll definitely work on animating the rest of the vehicle in the next video. So until then, thanks for watching. See you then.